unstable.
Yeah, no worries.
I'm unstable anyway, but my signal will be unstable. So, okay.
You're the most stable, unstable person I know.
Oh, well, thank you. Calling to order. Are we ready to go, Jody?
Yes, it's recording.
Okay. Call to order this meeting of the Tucson Pima County Historical Commission Plans Review Subcommittee of September 28, 2023. And we'll begin with roll call. Joel, Ireland.
Here.
Carol.
Here.
Savannah.
Here.
Ricky.
Here.
And Jen Mulder is here. So we're 5 here today. Is that right? 1, 2, 3, 4. 5.
Correct.
Yes. Okay. Thank you. So we have a quorum. Terry notified us that the LAR is not ready and will be ready for review and approval at the next meeting. And also, I guess she asked us to let you know that she provided the motion from our last meeting to Fort Lowell on the Fort Lowell case that was continued, and also to the Fort Lowell Historic Zone Advisory Board before their meeting earlier this week. So in the matter of the first case, these are historic preservation zone review cases reviewed under UDC section 5.8 and TSM 9-02.0.0 historic district guidelines and the revised Secretary of Interior standards and guidelines. The first item is 3A SD 0523-00055 at 5301 East Fort Lowell Road. It's rehabilitation of existing single-family residence and site improvements with a full review. It's in the Fort Lowell Historic Preservation Zone, and the structure is contributing historic to the HPZ and rehabilitation standards. Staff, did you have anything to say first to introduce this?
Sure. This project was heard by the Fort Lowell Historic Zone Advisory Board on August 22nd. They made a motion to approve the project with several conditions: to cover the roof with shingle sheathing, to provide rounded edges to the stucco treatment, to stucco the residence with a soft earth tone color similar to lime plaster, to place the heat pump in its proposed location on the rear roof of the residence, to construct the adobe courtyard wall 2 to 3 feet in height as proposed, adjoining it to the existing adobe wall with a similar stucco treatment to the residence, that an overhang is not required for the front porch, to eliminate the niche and lintel proposed on the front elevation, to add a non-operable closed window in lieu of the niche and the lintel, to provide low matching stucco walls to the cellar entrance, to provide a floor plan clearly notating the location of the interior stairs to the cellar, to cover the roof of the shed with shingle sheathing as well, to approve the east elevation French doors if the east perimeter wall is raised to a height of 6 feet, to accept all the west elevation windows as proposed, to provide earth tone gravel for the proposed driveway, to indicate motor vehicle parking in the rear of the property, and to provide velvet mesquites or other native plants such as bird of paradise bushes in lieu of bougainvillea. Additionally, it was stated that a conceptual grading plan and finished floor elevations be reviewed as a minor review. The motion was passed with a vote of 5-0. As a side note, the chair came after the vote late last week, I think, to indicate that she has a conflict of interest. She has a conflict of interest on this project. And so after some back and forth with the city attorney's office and the city clerk's office, we are going to redocket this for review at the upcoming October 3rd Fort Lowell Historic Zone Advisory Board meeting. And that is, I expect she'll recuse then, and it'll just be a reiteration of these conditions, the approval and the conditions. But we just want to get it on record that she is recusing from this project. So there's no issues going forward. And that shouldn't impact your review and recommendation on the project any.
Okay. Is there someone here representing the applicant to speak to the project?
Yes, it's Brian Atwood. He sent a text. I am at a computer out of state. I'm not familiar with. Can I get a call on my cell to join by phone? Okay. So momentarily, it should be on, Brian, it should be on the agenda. If you go to the website, how you can call in and the meeting ID number. And I'll put that in the chat. So he's here. I expect that he will get this message so he can dial in. And I will also mention that a member of the Fort Lowell Historic Zone Advisory Board is here, Mary Lou. So if you have any particular questions, she can also address them.
Okay. Seems like if Brian's not able to present, then we should consider hearing this again after Fort Lowell. It just
after Achoya. So the next one.
Well, I meant after Fort Lowell. If Brian can't present, then I think we should just wait and hear the case after Fort Lowell hears it again.
I mean, it's a technicality that it's going back to Fort Lowell.
Right, but if nobody is here for the applicant, then that's all I was saying.
He's here. I think he's just trying to. Oh, here he is. He's calling in. It's just.
I think I have you now.
Okay, there you are, Brian. So
sorry about that.
That's okay. Are you able to share your screen, or would you like me to share my screen? And you can just tell me where you need me to go.
I'm not. If you can coach me how to get there, I've never done Zoom meetings, so I'm the problem. Sorry about that. But if I can share the screen, but I don't know how to do it.
So at the bottom of the Zoom of your screen that you're looking at, the Zoom right now, there is a number of things like mute and start video, and there's a green one that says on the computer. Yes. And there's a green thing that says share screen. It has a little rectangle with an up arrow. So if you click on that, and then it brings up another window, you pick the window that has the plans that you want to share. You click on that, and then it'll ask you, there's a bottom right-hand corner that says share once you picked on your screen, and it'll share your screen.
I'm on the share screen, click and double click, and it's not doing anything.
Oh, crap. That's my fault. Sorry. They changed it so that I now have to make everybody a co-host, and I always forget to do that. Okay. You are now a co-host. Try that again. Sorry about that.
So it says one participant can share at a time, multiple participants can share simultaneously, and then advanced sharing options.
That's weird because that's not something I ever get. I would just say,
That's on the little up arrow. If you hit the little chevron, you should just be able to click share screen and it should
Yeah.
pull up which screen to share rather than the little chevron that's on the share screen
Right.
button.
And when I do that, I'm getting nothing. That's why I went to the other smaller one. This
is
browser
Vance.
I have is very outdated.
This is Vance, the second applicant. Mine also says host disabled participant screen sharing when I try and share.
yeah, Vance, because haven't made you a co-host yet.
Okay, got it. All right, I was just practicing.
No practicing. So it might just be easier for me to share my. Sorry, I have construction at my house too. I'm just gonna share my screen so we can move this along. And then,
Okay.
Brian, you can tell me where you want me to be or what you want me to look at. Okay?
Okay, copy.
Can you all see my screen? I'm
Mhm.
starting with the development zone, but I'm happy to open up other ones. Just let me know. Brian?
Yeah, Jody, I'm showing a blank screen that says you are viewing Jody Brown's screen. Now there's a view options next to that. Should I do that?
I'm assuming so.
Could Vance just do the presentation if he's also an applicant? Part of our screening process should be to make sure that people coming on know how to work with Zoom if they're going to be presenting.
Vance is this Ochoa. He's not the.
Oh, I thought you said he was the other applicant for this. Okay,
Oh,
mine. Sorry, Vance.
That's right.
I'm not sure why you're not seeing the screen. I can try to stop share and share again.
Okay.
Yeah.
It showed that I had a green border that said I was viewing your screen, but there was nothing nothing viewing but a black background.
What about everybody else? Were you seeing
Okay,
the development zone or
We could see it. Yeah, I could see it.
Yeah.
okay?
Yes.
Okay, now mine has just disappeared.
Oh, because I stopped sharing. Sorry.
Oh, okay, okay.
That's me. Hold on just a second. Where did my stuff go? Oh my
Brian,
goodness.
are you having is your internet just not very good?
Well, I'm in a remote area in Southern Illinois, and I'm showing medium reception. I think it's my computer more than my computer is probably the problem. It's an old Chromebook that I don't use very often, and I have my phone, which is a more current iPhone, but this particular computer probably is just so old that it's having a hard time with the newer technology, I'm sure.
If you
And I'm
have
fairly
the
challenged to boot.
Yeah, if you have an iPhone, you can get to the Zoom through your iPhone. If you click the link on your phone,
When I tried to do that, it was asking me to download an app.
the Zoom app probably.
Yeah, you would need to download the Zoom app to do that. And sorry, I was downloading the plans. I think they're exceptionally large. So it's taking just a minute to download that. And again, sorry, I have construction in the background. What the heck is going on with that?
We just go on with Ochoa and maybe Brian will figure it out or not.
Brian, do you need the plans to speak to them?
I don't
Like, do you need
believe
to see
so.
them?
No. No, I don't think so. No.
Okay, well, so I have the plans up and I can go along with what you're talking about and we'll see how this goes.
Okay.
Okay. Why don't you go ahead and start then?
Okay, so Brian, you were going to tell us about your project.
Well, it's the renovation of the old school master property, and what I believe that we're waiting on, and what was done at the last meeting, even though I wasn't privy to it, was there were some things that were approved, but there were some things that we needed to change to be to conform. One of those was a shingle colored roof, earth tone, instead of the metal that was presented, which is fine. We were trying to repair the stucco, and I believe that was okayed with the no expansion joints to it. There was a wall that was in question that was within the neighboring property to the east that was to be raised 6 feet because of a door. And there was a front pony wall that was going to be 3 feet that was changed to mimic more of the original structure and tie that to the home. And I'm trying to remember, I don't have that in front of me, but I can get everything on that just a minute.
Sorry, Jody, did you say you had plans? Because we received some annotated images, but we didn't receive plans. Could you share those, maybe?
Sorry, you're correct. These are the images the annotated images that we received. Sorry, I misspoke when I said plans.
So we don't even have plans? Is that what you're saying?
Because it's,
This was an existing structure.
yeah, it's
that,
an existing structure.
years ago was permitted and taken down to what was supposedly agreed to be as close as possible to what was existing originally. It had several addition and there were several non-conforming structures on the property. So the current structure exists in the state that the city and Fort Lowell Historic District decided was what was as close to the original as anybody could agree upon. So all we were in the process of doing is trying to renovate interior and exterior to the historic district guidelines. So the structure that's there is just being renovated and updated.
So sorry, we don't have plans?
I didn't realize that wasn't a requirement.
Why is that not a requirement? This is a extensive renovation. We need to see where the site wall is on the site plan and all that kind of stuff. I don't understand how we can.
So we have a site plan, we have the annotated pictures, but it is extensive, but it's not new construction. I mean, it's there. She's repairing windows, she's putting on a new roof. I mean, they are, for all intents and purposes, more related to the minor side. It's just a lot of rehabilitation. She has a
Okay.
site, the floor plan I'm showing right now. So
That floor plan is missing a bunch of windows and the cellar door. I mean, there's a lot that's not shown on it, right? Like the French doors, and I mean, it's existing. Is that what the floor plan you're showing is now?
correct, it's existing.
Is this the only image that you have, Jody, in the information that you have? Is this it? Oh, okay, here we go.
Yeah, there's other images in the packet that go through to discuss
Yeah,
what's
where the French door is gonna go.
here.
But you don't have anything in addition to what we were sent then, nothing.
I posted everything that was provided.
Okay, okay, thank you.
Brian, did you have anything that you wanted to add?
No, I don't believe so.
I mean, maybe it's just me, but I don't feel like I can review this without more information, at least a site plan, and then, I mean, what's this steel window, I mean, aluminum window, what's the configuration? Apparently it's a slider, but it's not shown as the actual one that's proposed, and the sizes on the elevation to confirm that it meets the existing opening. The proposed like what's the existing stucco? Because the proposed stucco is a one coat, which is not a lime, and I would assume that for an adobe structure, we would want to match the traditional lime plaster for repair. So maybe it's just me. Let's see what other plans reviewers think about how we can proceed.
I did have a stucco question because it's like bullet pointed twice where it says restore stucco and then separately restore stucco on the existing east patio walls. Is there a reason those two were like separated? And then is that just like only parts of the house are getting stucco, or the whole house is getting stucco and the east patio walls, which are different?
The current structure is stucco now, and it needs some repairs. Instead of just going in and repairing it, we were told we would have to submit and wait. So we're going to just go ahead and stucco all of it again. And there's some existing walls, I think, where the stucco is delaminated, and I think that's what they're speaking of there.
Okay.
But they're stucco on, I think, all of the structure right now. It's just not in very good shape.
Is it a traditional lime stucco existing on Adobe?
Looks like to me that it's two different. There's a traditional lime, and then there's a lighter sand. We were just going to go ahead and do the smoother stucco, which is what you see typically over the Adobe anyway. But there's a couple different versions.
I was talking, sorry, the material, not the finish.
Oh, I don't know the answer to that.
Do you know what is on there right now?
No, I don't know what, there's two different finishes, and I don't know what those finishes consist of, but it's a stucco.
Well, if it is lime, I would say that the one coat that was provided in the Western one coat that was provided in our materials is not a lime plaster and would not be compatible.
This is Carol. It's pretty critical to know what the different materials are that are on that Adobe and to know what to put on. And we don't have any details. And then I also had a question about, it looks to me in the one picture that the French doors are going into an opening that is bigger than what they would be, and maybe it's just the angle of the photograph. Are they going to fit in there, or are you going to have to close in part of that area?
All the openings are existing, and the way that was dictated to be done when we took all the non-conforming things off. So none of the openings have changed in size. What's there is what was there prior.
No, but when you put the new French doors in, it looks from the drawing like they are smaller than the existing opening. Do they fit that opening size, I guess is my question.
It appears to, yes.
Okay, great, thank you.
And are any of the openings being changed from windows to doors or vice versa? That was unclear in several places.
No, with the exception of evidently there is one window in the notes that was not there. That was a door prior, and it's nothing now, but there was a condition that it be a 3x4 metal casement, which the other windows are, because some of those were existing, and I had the guys go ahead and just reglaze those. They were there. So there was a door and a header that's currently there that HPZ meeting said do a window instead of I think there's just a blank wall there now, but they want a window to match the old elevation that was way before all of the additions, the non-conforming additions were done. So we're required to put a 3x4 window in where the header was that the door used to be. All the other windows are there.
I'm kind of
And
with,
they were the existing metal casement windows. I just kept them and reglazed them.
Joel, did you have any comments?
Yeah, I'm kind of with my other commissioners here. It was a confusing thing, and I attribute it just to my inexperience, but I'm having trouble reviewing this with the information. And also, it seems to me like the motion from the local historic board had so many qualifications that it kind of hard to work through that too. So I don't know. So I guess I'm having trouble too, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, I guess I'll say I kind of will echo Savannah's concern about just not having clear plans that show what's existing and what the replacements are in a way of helping us to visualize what the end goal is. Having the cartoons with the bubbles and arrows is challenging. It's for me, I have a general idea, but nothing beyond that, which is not usually what how our reviews are conducted.
So I think that part of the issue, and sorry, Brian, to throw you under the bus, is that the property owner is not here, and she's the one who had previously given the presentation. It sounds like maybe Brian is not as familiar with the project, and the property owner asked him to present this. This was, I will tell you, a lot of back and forth between staff and the property owner to get to this point. You're welcome. It's your prerogative to continue it if you want to. And as part of the continuance, request clarification on the stucco. And you can also, because there are a number of conditions associated with the recommendation from the Fort Lowell Historic Zone Advisory Board, you can ask that the plans are revised to reflect those if you want to have those addressed. It was the property owner who was putting this together. The applicant was putting this together. They didn't have a professional architect or designer or anything like that. So with that in mind, she put it together to the best of her abilities.
So for my own clarification, Jody, is that something that's needed typically in the process when you have an existing structure? Do you still go ahead and get the architect, et cetera?
No, you're not required to have an architect. You do have a floor plan later on in here, and it's just helpful, I guess, with the number of things we as staff had looked at a lot, and so we're able to put this through. But I think that part of having clear understanding of it is also having somebody who walks through with plans review, and I think that Fort Lowell got that with the applicant, and because she knew what she was walking through,
Right.
and that probably would have helped clear this up. So again, there's a couple ways that PRS can go with it, Jan. If you want to continue it, and that's your prerogative. I would just suggest that you're clear in your motion what you want brought back. And we can have further discussion with the applicant that she needs to be present to walk everybody through.
Jody, I do have a question.
Sure.
So, I mean, it sounds like because the owner is doing all of this, and they don't have an architect that's doing this, we're really not going to get much better plans than this, right? Even if we request them, because it's just the owner herself putting together these.
She is, and I'll be clear. I don't know if she's working on behalf of the owner, but the applicant is, or if she is the owner, but the applicant is the one who put this stuff together. And trust me when I say this is way better than what was originally submitted. This was a lot of back and forth to get it to this point.
Well, I appreciate that. I guess my only, my primary concern is, even if the applicant walks us through it, there's no real record of what was approved, especially when you're even saying without the owner here, we can't articulate what was approved. So there's no record for the next owner who comes in who wants to do something else. I mean, it just.
How do you mean there's no record? This is the record though.
Well, but when somebody goes back and says, what was it? And there's no plans on file. This is not like they're just going in and replacing windows. I mean, it's way more than that. She doesn't have to have an architect, but somebody who can provide some drawings that articulate what she's doing. And I understand the struggle you're probably having, but it also sounds like she maybe doesn't even know what she has to provide.
Well, I wouldn't say that. I mean, ultimately, the steel casement windows are still there. So she's putting glass in there. She's putting a new roof on. I mean, the real modification is ultimately this, that was a door that's going to become a window per the potentially become a window per the recommendation that was put for Fort Lowell. I mean, the openings are there. They're not making new openings. They had some discussion about the gravel and the low wall around the front and the plants to be used, but I mean, it is a shell of a building that they're adding this like storage shed in the back that is discussed here. So, I mean, it's your prerogative. It's, how you want to continue it. I would just be very, very specific about what you are requesting, and it would be on the applicant to provide that information.
And I guess I'll just say one more thing from what Brian was saying. It sounds like, and this doesn't always happen, I mean, we don't usually ask them to make changes based on the zoning advisory board, but it sounds like they'd already determined they were going to make some of those changes. So being clear, if they are going to make changes, then which ones are they and what's that look like versus ones they'd really like to have reconsidered or whatever.
Well, I mean, ultimately the advisory board, as you know, is a recommendation,
right.
As is yours, as is the PRS. It's a recommendation. So
but when he went through, he said, oh, we're going to do this, we're going to do this. And it, it's just, again, in terms of a record of what's really going on, it was not clear.
May I make a motion?
Yes, please.
Okay, I would like to move in that in the case of SD 0523-00055 at 5200 or 5301 East Fort Lowell Road, that we send this back to the applicant to revise the plans to reflect changes that they're going to be making based on the comments from the Fort Lowell Advisory Board, and then come back to us with that and more clarification in their documentation of those changes.
I'll second that. That's Joel.
Do we have any discussion?
When you say clarification, can you clarify what you mean by clarification?
Yeah,
Documentation, written documentation of the changes that they're going to be making based on the Fort Lowell Advisory Board's recommendations.
Do you, sorry, Savannah, did you want them to also include scaled elevations and like Savannah's talking about previously, or?
Yes,
can I just speak on my comments? I mean, I guess I didn't understand the backstory, and we're used to seeing something, and I want to be a team player, and I think they're proposing lots of important, good moves. So I think we want to keep it open. I don't think they have to have elevations and everything. It's just, there's just some questions about certain aspects that I think would be clarified on the plans, and maybe it's more annotations or maybe it's descriptions. And then my final comment is I think we should say something about the stucco, that it needs to be identified in terms of what it currently is, and then proposing something compatible for the rehab parts.
And as a seconder of the motion, I meant to include the stucco, yes.
So is the motion maker okay with an amendment that would,
Absolutely, yes, to include more specifics about the current stucco on the building and what application would be used in the rehabilitation that would be compatible with the adobe material and the existing stucco.
the seconder is okay?
Yes.
Okay, commissioners, are we ready to vote? Okay. Carol,
Aye.
Ricky,
Aye.
Joel,
Aye.
Savannah,
Aye.
Jan is aye. That's 5-0. Motion passes. And Jody will, I guess, talk to Brian and the applicant about what's needed. What?
Yes,
Right, Jody?
correct, I will.
Okay, thank you. Whew. So moving on, so the original second case that was on our agenda, which was a continued case, is not going to be heard this week. Moving on to item 3C, SD-0723-00081, 20 East Ochoa, construction of a 7-story affordable apartment building, full review, Armory Park, National Register Historic District. It's a vacant parcel and it's being evaluated on rehabilitation standards. Jody, or is Maria here to speak for staff or give an intro?
Yes, Maria is here and she'll give you background on this project.
Good afternoon. Yes, this is the West Point Apartments number 2. The applicant Vance Goodman also processed the West Point Apartments number 1 at the southeast corner of Broadway and Stone. So he's coming back with a new senior low income 85 units apartments in a 7-story building. The property does not include any historic resources. However, there's historic resources nearby. That's why it needs to go through the PRS. The applicant is choosing the IID as a tool for redevelopment to request some breaks on setbacks and parking and refuse collection, landscaping, and lot coverage. The design professional reviewed this project back on September 22nd and recommended approval. And that's all I have. I believe Vance Goodman is available for a quick presentation to the PRS.
Yep, I am here. Jody, oh, there I go. I'm going to share my screen. Can you guys all see this?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So these are the colored elevations, kind of rendered elevations. They're labeled as well. But yes, we did the West Point 2, 2016, or West Point 1 in 2016. Now we're going to come back and do a phase 2, which is kind of southeast of that structure. That one was part of a historic building, the Westerner Hotel, that we tore down half of it and rebuilt it. So we had to meet a bunch of Secretary of Interior standards and a bunch of other historic requirements. This one, however, is placed between 2 contributing structures in the area. So we have the 101 South Stone to our west, and then we have the what is the name of that building? It's a 2-story. There it is. The Udall Foundation is directly to the east, shared with a parking lot. So what we did, keeping these historic structures in mind, and wanting to allow them to stand proud, is we set back the building on both sides, the east and west. One side we have a full 17'6" to the Udall Center. And then to the 101 South Stone, we have 19'1 3/4. I can show you that image that I have here. Let me find that. Sorry about that. Right there. So this kind of shows the adjacent contributing structures to our building on the east and west. So that's why we set back our buildings on those sides considerably, so that we could let those historical contributing structures stand proud and not interfere with them. There was also some concern that our windows of the multifamily would look into the adjacent structures, especially the residential on the 101 South Stone. So we've been proactive, and we created some McNichols screening to give extra privacy in those balconies that are affected. So that's where you can kind of see a diagram that I created here. So when we set back on the east and west, it gave us an opportunity to kind of connect Ochoa and Jackson Street. And it also presented an opportunity to do some fun wayfinding landmarks. So we have some arrows pointing to the center, which you can kind of see here, right? So because the main entrance is actually located at the center of the building, which was kind of a fun idea not to have it along the street. But all the street level activity is community and gathering spaces. So that way that we can have activities going on the street level long after business hours. So that was kind of an IID requirement back when we did Ochoa 1. West Point 1. So now you can see we have community spaces on the north side, and on the south side we have a gym, gathering space with TVs, lounge areas, computers, spaces like that. We also kind of chose the exterior aesthetics of this building, all the EFIS. We used a weathered brick along the entire first floor, as long as part of the second floor. That kind of harkened back to the historic nature of Tucson, especially the downtown area, like the Chase Building. 44 East Broadway has lots of it on there. The north and south sides of these buildings, there aren't any contributing structures. However, the height similarities are almost identical. We have the 79-foot, 75-foot 44 East Broadway, and the new new hotel that's located just directly south of us. That's 79 feet as well. So that's why we were able to push those to the envelope, almost to the property lines on the north and south side, because we didn't have any fear of contributing structures on those sides. We also created some pop-outs visually and physically that help with the scale of the area, that bring us down to the lower buildings that are around us. So we created these pop-outs that have visual colors differentiating them, as well as them stepping down physically, to give a better aspect of scale. This is kind of a rendering, kind of peeking out behind 101 South Stone with the TEP building in the background, and kind of a street level activity view. I mean, that's pretty much it. I was hoping you guys would have some good comments and questions for me.
Commissioners?
There's no parking for this, correct? This is just,
Correct.
The
Yes,
building.
we are proposing 0 parking. We're going through the IID and also an IPP, which is an individual parking plan that shows within a 5-minute walking distance all the parking structures. And we also are entering an agreement with Parkwise to have 43 spaces available for the tenants. And we get the number 43 from the West Point. They had 50% of people drove vehicles. So we have, and this is the same population. So we had
Okay.
a good, yeah.
Oh, thank you.
Mhm.
I'll go next. I mean, I appreciate the lots of thoughtful considerations, the materials, the approach to the kind of the ground level, pedestrian level with the masonry and just generally with the heights and colors. Yeah, I guess my only question or really just confirmation was that like the equipment, is that all behind parapet on the roof?
Correct. Yes, all the equipment that's on the roof will be located behind the parapets. So you will not be able to see it, especially from street level.
Okay. And then you do have some residences at grade, right? What's the kind of consideration there? Are they still gonna be or feel safe and private? 'Cause
Yeah,
you will be able to
so
walk right up to them, right? Or do they, yeah, go ahead.
yeah, so on the ground level, there's a couple dwelling units. They will not have direct access to the outside. So it'll be accessed within the interior corridors. We will have privacy screens on all of the windows as well. But yeah, it will not have direct access straight to the street, so they will feel safe.
And then I know this is National Register, so this doesn't go through Armory Park or anything like that, is that right? But it does go through the DRC, and is that just process-wise, does that happen after us? I'm just curious.
Correct. It'll happen after you, and they are outside of the historic preservation zone, so it doesn't go to the advisory board.
Okay.
Yeah, and another thing I want to throw out there, we're going to have a vibration monitoring company monitor the vibrations of the adjacent contributing structures, so that if we're digging too hard and fast, that it will be alerted to us and we'll have to stop. That was a consideration brought to us from some of our neighbors.
This is Ricky. I really appreciate that. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Carol, Joel?
No, I think the questions I had to do with the Armory Park had any jurisdictions to weigh in, and then also on the parking, and those have both been addressed. So thank you.
Yeah, and Savannah really went in the areas I had, so thank you.
The only follow-up question I had to about the parking was just how that agreement with the city works. I mean, will those spaces be part of your permit or?
Yeah, so we have a lawyer that drafts up an agreement that's going to be signed by all parties that guarantees those spaces for the tenants, and that'll be part of the IID approval process through DRD.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
And just from a more of a personal standpoint, I wondered about the walkway that goes along the west side. Is that going to be public access or just for residents?
It will be for public access.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, there will be bicycle parking, pedestrian seating. There's actually some gardening going on in there, since this is an elderly population. We want to do some raised gardens, so yeah, it will be open to the public.
Okay, that just erases my other personal issue, which is it may be just me, but as somebody well beyond 55 plus, personally, I think I don't define that as elderly.
Yeah.
And that may be a city definition, but
I agree.
when I think of elderly, I do think of people that won't be driving that much. And if it's truly 55 plus, it may be that the economics that are limiting car ownership and maybe ethics as well. But anyway, thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
I think the idea is that like it's not like a family situation typically,
Yeah.
right? So they're just smaller units. Yeah. Okay.
Mhm. Yes, 1-bedroom units,
Yeah.
yes.
55 is still young.
Hey,
Yes.
Savannah. Are we ready to make a motion?
I'm happy to if you guys are good. Good. The plans are good.
I am.
Okay. All right, on the matter of SD-0723-00081 at 20 East Ochoa, I move to recommend approval of the project as presented.
This is Ricky. I'll second.
Okay, any further discussion? Okay, Joel,
Yes.
Savannah,
Yes.
Ricky,
Yes.
Carol,
Yes,
and Jan is yes. So that was approved 5-0. And Jody, can you answer any questions that you have, Vance, for following up on next steps? But thank you very much, and thanks for your clear proposal.
Yeah, no problem. And I wish my camera was working so you could see my smiling face. I appreciate it, you guys.
Thank you. Okay. Next on the agenda is item number 4, Task Force on Inclusivity Report Recommendations, discussion on best practices for naming of city and county-owned principal assets. Carol or Ricky, do you have anything to report on that?
We do not. We still haven't met yet.
Okay, thank you. Current issues for information and discussion, 5A, minor reviews. Any updates from staff?
Yes, for minor reviews, last week we did 2 minor reviews, both for roof, one at 519 East 4th Street and one at 345 East 13th Street. I did these reviews with Ricky. Ricky, you want to give an update on that?
Yeah, they were basically just replacing the roof exactly as it is. Taking it all the way down to taking all the roof tiles off, taking it all the way down as far as they could go, and then just rebuilding it as it was. So pretty simple.
Thank you.
Yeah, and
Go ahead.
I am going to need a volunteer. I have 3 minor reviews that are set to go. So I'm requesting a volunteer for the 3 218 East 17th Street. That is for a shed in the backyard. 317 East 1st Street. For a roof in West University. The first one is in Amory Park. The 317 East 1st Street for the roof is in West University. And I have 720 South 2nd Avenue for a solar installation in Amory Park. So I'm requesting a volunteer for these reviews.
Michael, this is Joel. I'll volunteer to do as many as you need. Me to, yeah.
Thank you, Joe.
Sure. Just contact my email, yeah.
Yeah, do you want it to be Zoom review or in person?
I like in person, but you can decide that. Whatever.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. 5B appeals. Any appeals to report on?
We have a pending appeal. The Fort State Zone Advisory Board appealed the director's decision in the case of 5259 East Fort Law, which you had reviewed on 7/25. Made your recommendation. The director made a decision, and the board is appealing that decision. It's not yet scheduled for mayor and council to hear, but I believe that when they will be scheduled, you will be updated.
Okay.
If Jody has any more update on this appeal than I do, she can bring it up.
No, we don't have it scheduled yet for mayor and council. I expect that we are shooting for November-ish, or early December for the appeal to go to mayor and council, but we'll keep you updated.
Do we know what the issues on appeal are?
To be honest, I haven't looked at it. She has until tomorrow to submit any additional materials.
Okay,
And so I was waiting until everything was submitted to go there. I unfortunately wasn't able to attend the meeting when they had the appeal, so I wasn't there for that discussion either.
okay, thank you. 5C, zoning violations, any updates?
No, we just continue to work on the violations as they are reported to us. A couple of them in the review, in the process that I am working with Rick to bring them to the review.
Okay. And then 5D, any review process issues?
Not from my end.
Yeah, I did. Okay. The ongoing argument chain thread going around about that Fort Lowell thing. Is he ever going to be told that he can't just CC us in emails like that?
Wait, what?
Is that allowed?
There was,
Yeah.
yeah, Damien sent another email last night about how Fort Lowell had reviewed that case again, and he's calling for like you and Corin to be investigated.
No, I didn't realize he must have been BCC'd on that because I didn't see that. I will talk to Corinne about that. If something like that happens, let me know because I didn't see you guys on there. He usually doesn't even send it directly to me. So, I usually get it secondhand, but I'll let Corinne know that you guys are getting all copied on that because that's a open meeting law violation.
Because and it's also very confusing where like I got that email right after I got your email about that being canceled. And so like I don't have any information about the case. I'm just getting these emails like you shouldn't approve this.
I'm sorry you received that.
Yeah, this is Joel. I didn't see this. What is that? Somebody called for somebody to be investigated?
Yeah, I didn't
Oh.
get him either.
Huh.
He must not have he must have the wrong email address.
Wrong list.
I
Well,
got a
that's
bunch
not,
from
yeah.
Damien, but not one last night.
This one got sent
got
September
one.
27th.
I received it as well.
But what's
I
the
received it
story
as
on
well. Yeah.
It was like late at 9:22 a.m.
Nope.
But what's the story
And so-
on it?
Yeah, so that one was again just about how the fence height should be 4 foot instead of 6 feet, which we talked about already. And how he had some comments about how the advisory board had handled that. And then he said, I respectfully request that the PDSD initiate an independent design professional audit of all City of Tucson HPZ cases from the past 2 years. This audit should assess complete lists of submissions, preliminary staff reviews, and final design code compliance.
Oh, I did get that one. Yeah.
And that had like a bunch of people on it.
I would recommend one because it's not on the agenda that we don't discuss it because that project is something that was canceled from this agenda.
Okay.
It is going to Fort Lowell on October 3rd, and they continued it. It had gone on to Tuesday, the 26th, I think it was, and they continued it. So the property owner agreed to it to go into October 3rd. You will likely see it October 12th on your agenda then. You are welcome if he submits public comment at that time. We can read it into the record. As requested, we did put together a response at the last meeting. Part of the request was that staff come back with responses to the comments that were made. And so we have put that together, and I will get that to you once this item is ready for review.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, thanks, Jody. And then I just, for the case today, I don't I don't want to be the one who's like the architect saying you need to have an architect. So I didn't want to not approve it based on that and like that lack of detail or drawing. But what is the requirement? I guess I want a little more clarification on the requirement for a submittal for a contributing structure that is existing with no proposed, at least, major alterations or additions. Is it just photographs and stuff like what they provided?
Because homeowners have done, 2-scale drawings various times, and they can be clunky, but they still represent what's being proposed. And to just give someone a pass because they're being a challenge or difficult, I mean, I realize it's a dance, but this just seemed over the line.
I mean, in my opinion, I think part of the problem was that Sharon, who previously presented it to Fort Lowell and was the person who put the plans and stuff together and had very good knowledge of what was being proposed, was not here to present. And she asked Brian to present, and he unfortunately was not as up to date on everything. I think that had you had a better presentation, it probably would have made it a lot more understandable. Because yes, you are correct. We have other homeowners that put stuff together and they are able to explain to you what's going on, so that you have a better understanding. And I think that that was part of the failure today. My apologies.
When we get that back, can we also get like the meeting minutes or the notes from the advisory review board, just because it seemed like a very long list of things?
They were posted.
Yeah, I read through those. It's like 3 pages of questions. It was like,
oh my gosh. Okay,
I hope I don't have to reiterate all these.
That's why I went slow when I was reading it. But they were
just kind of, the list kept going and going.
I know.
Which I think is indicative too of kind of the situation they were presented with. So they were trying to put some boundaries on it more than usual.
I can say I was not at that meeting, but I would suggest, if it's a laundry list that long, that it might be an item that is continued. Should you guys ever fall into that category, it should be something that's continued.
Yeah. Which, I mean,
I understand, like, they probably just didn't want it to be longer for whoever actually owns that property, but that was just kind of excessive.
I guess that does raise the question. It's going back to Fort Lowell anyway, and that's kind of what it, and it's being treated as kind of pro forma, but
I expect it's going back on Tuesday, so the plans aren't going to be changed. It's literally, I expect, going to be a quick thing to address the recusal that should have happened originally.
Okay. Yeah, I was just thinking, to Ricky's point, it's an opportunity for them to clarify their motion, but whatever. Okay, item 6, are there any, did we receive any public comments?
We did not.
Okay, and future agenda items coming up. I guess we think we have Fort Lowell on the 12th.
Yes, so you have Fort Lowell, and then you, in theory, have Fort Lowell again. You will have, there's a couple of West University ones, an Armory Park one. There's a courtesy review for a property that will be taking advantage of the IID that you've previously seen, actually. They have made some revisions and are requesting another courtesy review. And then you have 2 National Register nominations, Barrio San Antonio and Campus Farms, that I'm going to docket. I don't want to, I think I'm going to not docket on the same day, because that's a lot of reading. I think I'll probably docket one on the 12th and then one on the 24th.
Right? Are we ready to
Yeah.
adjourn?
Yes.
And with all that, that still was a pretty short meeting. We're adjourned at 2:06. Thank you all.
Great
Thank you.
job. Thank you, Jan.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Jody?
everybody.
Bye-bye.
Jody, can I talk to you for just a second?
Sure, sure.
Okay, on the 12th, I just want to confirm, I had to change because my flights got screwed up and I didn't get home when I was supposed to. I had to reschedule a dental appointment and the only time that they had is 10 o'clock on the 12th. And I think that is when we had plans review scheduled, so I didn't.
No, no, the 12th is our normally regularly scheduled date.
Okay, so it would
So-
be 1 o'clock.
Yeah, it'll be 1 o'clock. So you could
Oh,
come, with,
perfect,
you know,
okay.
drooling
I'll
a
be
little
back.
bit. Just turn your camera off if you're drooling a little bit. We're all good.
If my mouth's foamed up, okay.
Yeah. I'm only
Have one
slightly.
side drooping, okay.
Yeah.
The other really quick thing that I wanted to talk to you about, and I had talked to Terry earlier.